The Citadel Code, the philosophy of the medieval knight and noble. Chapter 2. Honor, the unbreakable foundation. Honor formed the bedrock of the knight and noble's existence. It meant a man's word was as solid as the citadel's curtain walls, thick, unyielding, and built to withstand every assault. Falsehood was corrosion. Once spoken, it weakened every future vow and ate away at the very structure that held knightly society together. The knight measured every decision against this standard, refusing compromise even when victory seemed to demand it. In the council chamber or on the field of battle, he spoke truth plainly, accepting the consequences without flinching. Honor was both inherited from noble lineage and earned daily through consistent conduct. It served as a legacy for his sons and a shield against shame that no armor could replace. It demanded self-examination as stern as any foe's lance. A knight who broke faith lost more than land or title. He lost the respect that made him noble in the eyes of peers, lord, and God. Through honor, the sword became an instrument of righteousness rather than mere violence. In the medieval world, honor was not a vague feeling or personal preference. It was a public and sacred reputation, the currency of the knightly class. A knight's name carried weight far beyond his physical presence. When he gave his word, whether pledging fealty, promising safe conduct to a defeated enemy, or swearing to uphold a truce, it bound him as tightly as any iron chain. Breaking that word invited not only earthly punishment, but spiritual damnation, for oaths were sworn before God in the Citadel chapel. The knight understood that his honor reflected upon his entire lineage. A single act of deceit could tarnish the family arms displayed proudly on his surcoat and shield for generations. This uncompromising stance on truth shaped daily life inside the citadel. In the Great Hall, when disputes arose between vassals over land, tithes, or grievances, the knight rendered judgment with plain speech. He did not soften harsh realities to please powerful men, nor exaggerate to curry favor. His decisions rested on custom, evidence, and justice, spoken without fear of reprisal. On the battlefield or during siege, the same principle held. If he offered terms of surrender, those terms were kept even if the enemy later proved treacherous. Mercy extended under oath could not be retracted for convenience. Such consistency built trust among allies and even earned grudging respect from foes. Historical examples illustrate how deeply honor was woven into chivalric practice. The Song of Roland, one of the earliest and most influential chansons de geste from around 1100, presents Roland as the epitome of knightly honor. Despite his rash pride, Roland refuses to sound his Oliphant horn for aid until it is too late, preferring death with honor over any stain of perceived cowardice. His loyalty to Charlemagne and his concern for leaving his sword Durendal untainted by enemy hands underscore that honor extended even beyond life itself. The poem codified many chivalric expectations: to live by honor and for glory, to speak truth at all times, to persevere in every enterprise, and to guard the honor of fellow knights. These ideals resonated across Europe, shaping how knights viewed their conduct in war and peace. Another towering figure was William Marshal, often called the greatest knight that ever lived. Rising from a landless younger son to regent of England, Marshal exemplified honor through unwavering loyalty and integrity across shifting political winds. He served multiple kings, Henry II, Richard the Lionheart, and John, without betraying oaths, even when it cost him favor or fortune. In tournaments, where knights competed fiercely for prizes, ransom, and reputation, Marshal gained renown not only for prowess, but for honorable conduct. He avoided unnecessary cruelty, honored truces, and treated defeated opponents with dignity. His biography, written shortly after his death, portrays a man who measured every action against the standard of honor, refusing to break faith even when lesser men urged pragmatism. Honor also manifested powerfully in the tournament circuit that flourished from the 12th century onward. These mock battles served as training for real war, while providing a public stage for displaying virtue. A knight entered the lists not merely to win horses, armor, and ransoms, but to prove his worth. Cheating, striking from behind, or attacking an unhorsed opponent brought lasting shame. Crowds and noble ladies watched closely. Reputation earned in the tournament field could open doors to patronage, marriage alliances, or command in royal armies. Yet true honor required restraint. The knight who fought cleanly, spared a worthy opponent, or yielded gracefully when defeated, gained more admiration than the brute who triumphed through dishonorable means. Tournaments thus reinforced that honor was performative, yet deeply internal, a balance of public deed and private conscience. Inside the Citadel, honor demanded rigorous self-examination. The knight regularly reflected in the chapel or during quiet hours in the solar. Had he spoken truthfully in council? Had he kept every promise made to vassals or family? Had pride led him to offend where courtesy was due? This introspection mirrored the spiritual discipline of monks, adapting contemplative practice to the warrior's life. Ramon Lull, in his Book of the Order of Chivalry, written around 1275, emphasized that the knight must embody virtues worthy of his high station. Honor was not granted automatically by dubbing. It required constant effort to maintain. Lull argued that a knight who failed in honor betrayed the very purpose of his order, to uphold justice, protect the weak, and serve God faithfully. The consequences of lost honor were severe and far-reaching. A knight proven false might face formal degradation, his spurs hacked off, his shield reversed, and his name cried out as traitor in the public square. More insidiously, social ostracism followed. Allies withdrew support, lords questioned his reliability, and peasants whispered of a faithless master. In extreme cases, excommunication loomed if the broken oath involved the church. Families suffered as well. Daughters found suitors scarce, sons inherited diminished prospects. Thus, honor functioned as both personal armor and collective safeguard, binding the knightly class together through mutual accountability. Yet honor was not cold rigidity. It allowed for mercy and generosity when these did not compromise truth. A knight could pardon a repentant foe or show largesse to the defeated without falsehood. The key was consistency. Actions must align with declared principles. This flexibility prevented honor from becoming mere stubbornness while preserving its core as unyielding integrity. In the harsh realities of medieval warfare, sieges that could last months, battles where thousands fell, and political intrigues that toppled kingdoms, honor provided moral clarity. When supplies ran low and disease stalked the citadel, the knight's word to ration fairly or negotiate honestly maintained discipline among hungry troops. When victory seemed certain but required betraying a safe conduct, he refused, knowing short-term gain would poison long-term trust. Such choices often proved wise. A reputation for honor could end conflicts more swiftly than force, as enemies preferred surrendering to a trustworthy foe rather than fighting to the death. The citadel itself stood as a monument to this virtue. Its massive curtain walls, built layer upon layer of stone, symbolized the layered defenses of an honorable life. Outer prowess in arms protecting the realm, inner truthfulness safeguarding the soul. Banners fluttering from towers displayed heraldic arms that proclaimed ancestral honor and personal vows. Every stone laid, every gate reinforced, reminded the knight that his fortress was only as strong as the character dwelling within it. Honor elevated the knight above the common soldier and the mere brigand. While mercenaries fought for coin and outlaws for plunder, the knight fought for something greater: reputation, duty, and divine approval. This distinction justified his privileged status. Lands, tithes, and authority came with the heavy obligation to live honorably. Neglect that obligation, and the justification for his power crumbled. Through honor, violence itself found purpose. The sword, sharp and gleaming, became more than a tool of death. It enforced oaths, defended the innocent, and upheld justice. A knight who wielded it dishonorably reduced himself to a thug in expensive armor. One who wielded it with integrity transformed potential brutality into a force for order and good. In the torchlit halls and training yards of the Citadel, young squires learned these lessons by observation and direct instruction. They watched their lords speak truth to powerful visitors, keep promises made in lean times, and accept defeat in tournament with grace rather than excuses. They absorbed that honor was not inherited passively, but actively maintained through countless small choices each day. A forgotten courtesy, a convenient half-truth, or a broken minor vow could begin the slow erosion that led to ruin. Thus, honor stood as the unbreakable foundation of chivalric philosophy. It provided the moral architecture upon which all other virtues rested. Without it, courage became recklessness, loyalty became blind obedience, and piety became empty ritual. With it, the knight and noble could face siege, intrigue, or the quiet demands of governance with unshakable resolve. In an age of constant uncertainty, honor offered certainty. A man who kept faith with his word kept faith with God, his Lord, and himself. The Citadel might eventually crumble under cannon fire centuries later, but the ideal of honor it sheltered would echo through history as one of the Middle Ages' most enduring legacies.